Welcome to the Future of Structures podcast, where we talk to the experts who are evolving our buildings for tomorrow. And here is your host, Adam Jones.
Today we are speaking with Dupree. He was born in 1942 in Vienna and is the co-founder, design principal and CEO of COOP HIMMELB. So he was also counted as one of the originators of the Deconstructive Architecture movement. And his company had an international breakthrough with the invitation to the exhibition Deconstructive Architecture at MoMA, New York in 1988. So over the years, Wolf has been awarded with numerous international architecture awards. I could probably take this intro into at least 5 minutes for all his awards, as I interviewed him just after he did a keynote speech at Melbourne University, and the guy who was introducing Wolf, he went on for about 5 to 10 minutes. Anyway, Wolf is incredibly wise, he's funny and intelligent, even though I think he's 75 years old, but he is still completely with it, and just being in his presence, he's a man of great character and he's seen a lot of things over his career. So this was a great opportunity to speak about how architecture has evolved over his career. I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did. Without any further ado, here is Wolf Dupree.
In December, I will be 75.
Yeah. You're looking pretty healthy for 75, I'd say.
Thank you very much. But that proves that what I always say, that architecture is not a country for young people. I have to say, you need a lot of experience to bring up your thought in a very correct and lively way, so that people can appreciate that. When I was a young architect, and my father was an architect, he said, you need experience in order to be an architect. I said, no way, because I don't need experience. But now I can see he was right.
Yeah.
And I know that young people hate me when I say architecture is not the country for young people. But be patient. That's the way it is.
Yeah, nice. So you were one of the founders of the Deconstructive Architecture movement, and I've got an engineering background, so
You have an engineering?
I'm an engineer in my background with an interest in architecture. Yeah. But so can you just tell us a little bit about the deconstructive architecture and how you came up with it?
Yeah, there's a big misunderstanding about deconstructivism, because people think, and even the architects think, it has something to do with destroying. In opposite, it's a new way of thinking in architecture, and it was very healthy for us to go into that deeper. Meaning, when we started in '68, we wanted to change architecture radically, and immediately figured out that was not so easy. Yeah. And the influence of other things like art, psychology, Formula One racing car, the method of Cassius Clay, and all the things we introduced, and the moon, the conquering of the moon and outer space, all the things we integrated in our thinking in order to get rid of this conventional way of building.
Cool. So how do you, forget about, the conventional way of things and how we're programmed to conventionally think and then start from scratch?
Yeah, I have to say that the discussion goes a little bit deeper. Because when I met my friends at this time, like Eric Moss, Tom Main, Saha, and Rem Koolhaas and Eisenman, we were all talking the same language. But the architecture looked very different. And then I figured out that has to do with the cultural background. So the Dutch guys are Calvinists, the Swiss guy are also Calvinists, the Spanish guy are influenced by the Catholic, by the harsh Catholic, Jesuitic philosophy, and we, the Viennese architects, the Austrian architects like Hollein and Domenic and Abraham, and we were actually influenced by the Baroque way of thinking. Namely, you have to imagine to build a church and to build a heavy tons of weight, a cupola, and then paint it away. There's with a sky. It's crazy. So and we always said the Calvinists or Protestantic guy in Germany, they are counting money. We are counting the space sequences.
Cool. In the presentation I just saw, then you talked about the visible and the invisible in architecture. So you had like an iceberg on the top, and then on the bottom, 90% of the iceberg was underwater, the things that nobody sees. So can you tell us a little bit about the other part?
I compare the architecture in the discussion about the theories and all these things. I compare architecture with an iceberg. 1/10 is visible, and 9/10 are invisible. And this is the most dangerous part of the iceberg, because we know that the Titanic was killed by the invisible part. The invisible part in architecture is politics, economic issues, constraints, codes, rules, and so forth. And this is like we know, influencing the visible part, the building, so to say, very dramatically. And we have to discuss this invisible part more intensely than we do.
So is it really important to have, I guess, a really good team of engineers and clients and everything? And how important?
I don't know whether you are firm with the European football, soccer game. I like to see intelligent teams playing with an intelligent trainer. I like to see that, because then you can see how a teamwork is working. It's the same like in our office. There we are teamwork with all the good consultants. Our team is also very good, had a good position. And maybe there is one guy who makes the last step, like Messi. Like Messi. He's doing the unforeseeable new way of bringing the ball into the goal.
I really like that analogy. So, and you also mentioned a few of the things that are coming in the future in terms of technology. So is there anything that you think...
This is very important. We are under pressure. The architects are under pressure because people try to save money by cutting away the architecture, the meta level of thinking. They try to cut it away. They call it value engineering. That means that it's really stupid. And we have to invent or introduce new methods to the building industry so that we can build complex solutions more economic than just stupid boxes. I say the building industry nowadays is a little bit stupid. Let's say it that way. Because if the car industry would be as stupid as the building industry, we would just riding horses.
So some of the technologies, do you think, or how do you think the building industry is being so stupid? You had the analogy of like sharks and sardines in the talk. Is it similar to that?
This is the architect's role is is the role of the sardines in an aquarium of sharks, because we are at the end of the food chain. They say the architect's mistake that it costs more or that it takes longer, but it's mostly not correct.
So with some of the technologies coming through, do you think it's going to be more possible to build more beautiful buildings in the future with robotics and artificial intelligence? And
Of course. The computer allows us to design in a more economic way, meaning you cannot draw with hand a building which is positioned into the wind in order to reduce the wind power, meaning you can save money to make the structure cheaper. So you cannot draw it with the hand, but you can do it with the computer.
And then that's the design part. I saw in one of your projects you were using robotics on a project in China. Do you think see that as a rapidly growing?
But what I said, eight people 1 month instead of 80 people 8 months.
Wow. And did the cost of the robot, was it similar or comparable or even?
You have to build more of these things. See, this is an argument to give us more commissions. We can do that. No, this is economic, and if architects are not researching and investigating this kind of methods, the building industry or the project manager will take it and ruin the architecture with value engineering again and again.
So I get this. Do you think the building industry is evolving into something much better, or at the moment we're going through a stage where
they are happy not that they don't have to change because no one is asking for that. They say make the apartment smaller, so you get 3 square meter for a person, meaning for 2 persons the apartment is 6 square meters. That's the reason for so many divorces.
That's a big problem in Australia at the moment as well. The size of very small houses.
This is not responsible for a human being. If you take care of a human being, you have to give him freedom as well. A little spacey freedom, freedom to move in the space, not to hang in a closet.
So for architects, I guess, who want to get inspired and produce something a bit more inspiring for people, how can they go about doing that? Do you think for architects to be more inspired in their work rather than, push the challenge?
They shouldn't give up too soon. Patience is one of should be one of our attitude. And we had long time when we didn't build. So we went through all this and we know all these arguments. So we got through that. Then we proved that we can do it in a very economic way. And now from then on, people like to have it.
Phenomenal. All right, well, thanks. So for just my last question, what do you think will have the biggest impact in the buildings industry in the future?
3D printing, robots, and milling.
Okay. And what's milling?
Meaning that you can cut with a robot-steered milling machine.
Cool, gotcha. Phenomenal. All right, thank you so much for your time, Wolf. I really appreciate it. That was phenomenal.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hey guys, Adam here. Just before you go, just one quick request. If you're enjoying the show, please leave a review. It helps our rating and ranking on iTunes. so more people can hear from the people who are making our cities better places for our future.